Underwater? You crazy? Too hot. No, no, we need the sunlight. We need the sunlight. Mm-mm. Alaikum salam, alaikum salam, barakatuh. How you doing, Aki? Today? It's cold, bro. It's been cold here for a few days. Florida stand. It was 35 the 2 days ago. And yesterday was 40. I think now it's like 40 or 45. It's cold. Wa alaikum salam, alaikum salam, barakatuh. How you doing, He? Storm raining. Raining and stormy? I'd rather be a little bit cold.
Well, I can't see any clouds.
No, no, not here. Here it's not raining.
Why?
Wa alaikum salam,
Why?
alaikum salam, barakatuh.
Well, I
How you
can't see
doing?
any white clouds or gray clouds or anything. Why can't see any white?
Right now, the sky doesn't look cloudy. There's no clouds out right now.
Why?
Yeah, Rafiq is here. We're going to school.
Why there's no clouds?
Right now, the clouds are not out, I guess. I guess they're not out right now.
Well, I want to see the clouds.
Huh?
I want to see the clouds.
You want to see the clouds?
Yeah.
Well, they're not out right now. We have to wait till they're out.
It's gonna take forever.
It's a lot of pallets in that truck.
Maybe somebody stole the clouds.
Maybe somebody did what?
Maybe somebody stole the clouds out of the car.
Someone stole the clouds?
The clouds don't appear at the sky for a long time.
They don't appear in the sky for a long time. You know, now that the temperature's cold, when I'm driving like this, the car is making a little hizzy noise.
Yeah.
Like in the front.
Yeah.
And I noticed, I think it's because of the temperature. So I looked it up. Because it started happening when the temperature dropped and it got cold. So I looked it up. And temperature dropping and becoming colder might have something to do with it, because it was explaining that the pipe, the rubber pipe that go connected to the engine, the air intake, sometimes they shrink. Sometimes they shrink, or they expand, or something like this. And it allows more air, even if it's a little bit more airflow to go in, that could be causing that hissing noise. Because it is coming from the front.
I can't see any hissing.
It's very small. It's very small and subtle. So even the temperature affects, the components that are happening under the car. So I did lift up the hood and check the other day when it was happening more frequently, and I noticed it only happens in the morning, because later on during the day it goes away. The temperature goes up just a little bit, but it's been cold throughout the whole day. It hasn't been, because sometimes here it's like maybe it's a little bit cold in the morning, and then like 11 o'clock it's hot. But the past few days it's been cold the whole day till nighttime, till the next day. So 35 degrees two days ago. I think that's the coldest I've ever remembered being in Florida. 35 degrees.
I can see a little bit better on another window.
The combustion is stronger when it's cold. Yeah, I chat GPT some information. It was explaining about when the temperature switches.
Explain chat GPT.
Huh? Say that again. Explain chat GPT. Ask it to explain it. Yeah. I already did. I asked it to explain it yesterday.
Yeah.
It's been cold there also.
Yeah.
It's been pretty cold. Oh. That guy flashes lights at me. That means there could be a cop nearby. Sometimes I do that. When I see cops are hiding, sometimes I flash the lights at people that are coming opposite way so they slow down. Sometimes I do that. Now, if that means two things. When people do it at nighttime, that means your lights are off. But when they do it during the day, that usually means there's police nearby hiding. So they're just alerting you that, hey, up ahead, you got popos. All right. Let me see. Not yet, Rafiki. Not yet.
I'm trying to look at a little bit closer.
Yeah, not yet. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Emojis.
Oh, you could have gone. Now you didn't go. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go, 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 man. Shh.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Why some people are going?
Why some people don't want to go?
Why?
They take forever.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's so mean.
Yeah, why are they so slow? They have to move fast sometimes. We're trying to get to the school.
What?
We're trying to get to the school, right?
Yeah.
All right, Rafiki, you know what to do.
I just found the emojis that you always
Oh,
put.
back up. What are you doing?
I always found the emojis.
Oh, yeah?
On the screen where you're doing it.
Yeah, the emojis. Put your stuff on.
What did you always...
Get ready to hop on. Get ready to hop out here. We made it just in time for school. You ready to hop out? All right, Rafiki. Be ready. Right here. All right, have a good day. All right, she's going to help you say thank you and good morning.
Thank you.
To her.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you. Got to teach these kids to have manners. Know what I mean? You too. Okay. I'm in the office right now. Why are you trying to fool us? You ain't in the office. I'm in the office right now. What are you talking about? I'm in the office right now as we speak. I'm in the office. You don't see the background or what? You want to see my coffee table? Look. Well, that's not a coffee table. That's my business table. You see, don't be jealous. You see the skyline back there. I was in the living room the other day. That's where I had the coffee table. Gibby, you going to work now, or what time are you working? All right, let's get to let's get to the money. See how business is today. Oh, you know what? Before I do that, I think I'm gonna pass by the car wash. Yeah, I'm gonna pass by the car wash before I do that. I need to get a new spray for the car, like a new air freshener, because I got this, and it is not good. It's like an orange air freshener. It is not good at all. Do I have the rag here? I think it's in the back. Stop by. Let me see. I gotta stop by the car wash. Because I don't know who dropped that back there yesterday, but somebody, I just noticed somebody dropped something on the leather, and it's like, it looks like a little bit like juice or something on the leather. I gotta clean that. I just turn off the heat. Turn off the heat. Hey! Thank you very much, Kimberly. I appreciate the coffee. That's what I really need right now in this cold. That actually, a real one sounds really good right now. What's up, Adrian? What's the day looking like? Let me be a little extra right now and put my gloves on, just to be a little extra. Shlama Leka. Shlama Leka. Who knows who used to say that? Shlama Leka. Who used to say that? Is it winters in Florida? It's cold. It's cold. Jesus. That's right. Alayhi salam. Yeah. Jesus used to say that. Peace upon you, be upon you. Is he a truck driver? No. I'm a businessman, and I work in a business office. See? See my laptop? I do consultations. I don't have a red car. You can't possibly have seen me in a car because I am in my office. See? I'm at my main desk right now. The desk in the back is for when clients come in and we sit down and we discuss things. But this one is extra, another desk I have here. I have my computer here. I got my live stream here. I heard your channel was almost taken off. Yeah, but you know what they say. Almost is not enough. Almost is not enough. You gotta finish me off, otherwise I'm gonna keep shooting back. You know what I mean? You can't give me even a little bit of life or I'm gonna come back. Because giving up is not an option. So you have to finish me off completely. Can you teach me about Jesus, alayhi salam? Sure, what do you want to teach me? Oh, let's go ahead now. Quick little car wash. Nice room. Thank you very much. You don't believe in Jesus. Sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that. Sounds like you're gonna be among the losers in the hereafter. Unless you correct course, then, you know, as long as you're still alive, there's a chance, right? Come live in Saudi Arabia. I have to go to Saudi for my religious duties, but I have a commitment to my son here. I have to be here for him. You've been there, the Muslims are nice. Thank you, Sebastian. Appreciate it. Thank you for the contribution. We gotta be careful here around this area because this is a school zone. And now here in this county, they're putting cameras on the school zones. They don't even need the cops anymore. They're putting the cameras, and the camera will just send you a ticket to your house. I'm sure there's somebody in enough is reviewing it, like a cop reviewing it, you know, just to make sure there's no. There's no mistake. No icons. What do you mean? Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, the thing is that I have to stay here where I'm at for my son because it's a court situation between me and his mom. So we're both gonna be sharing custody. So I have to stay here for him. He's little. But yeah, inshallah, I'll go to Saudi one day to perform my duties. You see me pop up on your feed many times. Yeah, I don't engage with comments about the beard. It's meaningless. I don't know if it's a good one or a negative one, but either way, it's just there's no benefit in talking about my beard. It's just old. Well, welcome to the live stream. Where are you joining from? Let's go pass by the car wash now. Yeah, the car wash. Thank you very much for the. Oh! Wait. Trying to balance it. Washington. Oh, Washington is a mess right now, right? Or have they cleaned it up a little bit? Downtown Philly is insane. It's like zombie land. Oh. Hey, Sebastian, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Yeah, downtown Philadelphia is sad. Sad to watch. Everybody's out in the street, like drugged out and needles everywhere. And I mean, it's never been a mess. Most of the time, media talking crap. Okay. Okay, you live there, so you know more than me. But I did see a little documentary about. I guess they went to the ghetto. But every state has a ghetto. I mean, every state in America has some sort of like hood. At least one. I heard it's not going so great in America. I've never been there, but it doesn't sound great anymore. It's doing better than it was doing with Biden. Yeah, there's some fentanyl, but that's everywhere. Yeah. America. I know it snows in Washington sometimes, right? How cold does it get out there? Do you like Trump? I think he does some good things and some bad things. But then that's all every president. Every president does some good things and some bad things. That's my opinion on Trump. He does some good things and some bad things. Bro, are you a politician? That's a very politically correct answer. But it's the truth. You know what I mean? 20 below. What? Oh, no. No, thank you. No, thank you. I don't know how you guys do it. Were you born in Washington? Guys, please double tap the screen, hit the like button. Were you born in Washington? Because if you're born into that type of situation, then I'm sure you get used to it you assimilate to it pretty decently. Doesn't mean you don't get cold, but it's bearable if you're born into it. Born in Texas. Oh, love cold. Great state of Texas. Yeah. Is what's your name? Abraham. I'm not gonna comment Abraham because I gotta go there one day, so I have nothing bad to say. I have nothing bad to say. I gotta go one day there, you know. Yeah, King. Yeah. If I have zero intentions of going to some place in the world, then I might speak about it. For example, France. I have zero intentions of ever going to France, and they're communists. You know, when like 2 years ago, I was on the X platform, Twitter, and I get a message from supposedly through Twitter from the French something French talking about, it was like an email talking about you have a case in France for blah 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 blah, and I'm like, what? Oh yeah, that's cute. So I looked into what the description was saying, whatever, for what was the reason for this case in France, and it said because I made a comment on a video. So I made a comment on a video online that went against French law, and so I had a case pending that needed to be resolved, a legal case in France. So I said, okay, this is interesting. Uh, Based on what? Then they gave me like the link to the video in the message, and it was a video of a white girl in America, an American white girl that was walking through the sidewalk, and this black girl comes from behind and starts punching her. And I made a comment, and I said something like, this ghetto hood rats are out of control," something like this, right? And this is why they were contacting me. So I wrote them a nice message back, and I said, well, I'm not gonna repeat exactly what I said with the not so kind words, but I pretty much told them to shove their case where the sun don't shine, because I'm in America. And who the hell are they? And I've never stepped foot in their country, nor has it ever crossed my mind to step foot in their country, in their communist regime. That's what I told them. And I'm an American, and I don't know what the hell they're talking about. But they can shove the lawsuit or whatever up their ass. That's what I told them. And I was never planning, never had it crossed my mind to visit their shithole country. This is pretty much what I told them. Are these people closed today? No. So, what's going on here? These people not open today, or what's the deal? No, they're open. They're just not out here in the cold. How you doing? I got it.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I don't.
All right, thank you. Their thing is not working properly. but she just lifted a thing there, and this girl has to be like at the latest like high school, right? And she already had a baby. She's pregnant. She already had a baby, but she had to be like from middle school to high school, like that. In that uh, group, she already had a baby because when I first started coming here, she works here at the car wash, and then like 2 months later she was pregnant, and now she's not pregnant anymore after all this months. So I'm assuming she gave birth. Okay, let me just a little vacuum and clean the back. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. What's going on? What's the day looking like? Everything Gucci? These people are probably wondering, why is this guy at the car wash? It's cold as heck. It's cold as heck. This guy out here coming to the car wash. Yeah, it might be cold, but the car needs cleaning. Needs some vacuuming. You know what I'm saying? Windows of my office are getting washed right now. There's a guy I pay a lot of money hangs from the top of the building that works at the very top. Skyscraper. I pay this guy really big amount of money to climb on the top, and then upside down he cleans the windows. Look, the windows right now. I don't know if you can see it. He's cleaning the windows. That's him. It's a risky job. Very dangerous. Man, they're really putting you through it in the office. Yeah, they're just cleaning the glass. Assalamu alaikum, Mikey. Thank you. Thank you for the coffee. How's your morning? You know, people like boo some. I can't really tell them. I can't really tell him like, oh, I'm cold, because where he's at gets way more cold. So if I tell him, boo some, I'm cold, it's 45 degrees, he's probably gonna laugh, because he knows what cold is like, really cold. But 45 here in Florida is really cold. I'm laughing at your gloves. He's like, he got gloves on, and it's 40, 45 degrees. I'm cold, man. This is cold in Florida. It's great. Now I gotta get out to try the outside. I gotta try the outside. I'm the only one here in the car wash. It's just me. Not even a single other car. Well, me gloves. Let me step out the office real quick. Oh yeah, I saw that video about the baby formula. The girl that was calling. The girl was calling the churches, and then the masjid was the one that gave her the baby formula. Well, was willing to help. That's crazy. It's crazy that all the other churches turned her down. And then after the fact, they were like, "Oh, there were 3 Catholic churches that offer her to help her, or whatever." After the thing became, because of the salt. Yeah. Do you put salt in in your porch and stuff like that on the steps? Do you do that? Because I know a lot of people that live in really cold states do that. They buy the bag of salt and they. Let me go ahead and. Oh, what the heck? There is actually there is smoke coming out of my breath. The whole car wash for me. Got 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 the whole car
Got the whole car wash for me.
know who the heck dropped it here. I would have reported them to Uber for a cancellation fee. For a clean. You know what I was thinking? Imagine how cold it gets out there in the mountains in Afghanistan when it gets really cold. 'Cause I've seen the videos when it snows out there and it gets really, really cold and those mountains get covered in snow. Again, I'm sure once you're born there, you kind of assimilate to it easier. I'm gonna tell you a very interesting story that I heard yesterday. So I was listening to the story yesterday. All right, Kimberly. Inshallah. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I was listening to the story yesterday, right? About a Pakistani couple marriage that, well, how should I start the story? By saying what ended up happening, or anyway, let me start from the beginning. It's a Pakistani marriage that came. I think it was. I think they went to Dubai. They moved to Dubai to work and make money. And the husband was a cab driver, and they went to Dubai to make money to save a certain amount, so that they could move back to Pakistan and buy a house over there and make their life over there. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. So his wife worked at a jewelry shop, jewelry store, salesperson. He worked cab. They didn't have any kids. So there was a very influential person from Dubai that had a lot of money. That went into the Walaikum salam. They went into the store one day to buy whatever, to look at whatever. And he was asking her, the sister that worked there, that has the husband that's a cab driver that came from Pakistan, if she could show him around, like, different watches and things like this. And she did. That's her job, right? So he ends up buying like a very expensive watch. Like a watch that costs like thousands of dollars. And he tips her like $500. Which is, pretty unusual, but some people have money to spare, so this is a very wealthy guy. Anyway, so sister was happy about that. Anyway, he returns a few days later. Same customer returns a few days later. And he's asking her to show her, a few more things, a little bit more of other items that had other type of jewelry. And he buys a couple more and gives her another tip. Then he comes back again a couple days later. And this time he starts, still interested in the items there. But he starts asking her more personal questions, like where's she from? Things like this. So he tells her that she seems very knowledgeable when it comes to sales and things like that, and she's well-mannered, and he could use her for, what was it that he said? He could use her for, like, a consultant. Like a consultant when it came to, like, fashion and stuff like this, because he knew a lot of people. And he gave his family, he gave them a lot of gifts and things like this. So he could use a consultant, and he would like her to work for him as a consultant, and he will pay her $5,000 a month. So the sister goes back to her house and tell her husband what's the whole thing. She was honest with her husband the whole time. Is this customer that has come in, bought a few items, not expensive items, and he wants me to hire me as a consultant. And $5,000 was about what both of them, her and her husband, made combined for the whole month, right? Taxi driver with a jewelry salesperson. So the husband, he was a little hesitant at first, but he was like, why did he pick you? She's like, I don't know, maybe because I have good customer service. And so anyway, husband said, okay, well, that's a good amount of money, and we can save up in 2 years rather than 5 years, because they had this planned out, how long it was going to take them to save up the money so they can move back to Pakistan and buy the house and the whole thing. So the sister calls him or emails him or whatever, because he had given her his information, and she accepts. So for a couple of weeks, I think, no, for a couple of months, for like 2-3 months, it was like a job that was like twice a month. They will meet up, and it was straight business, consulting on what gifts he should be buying for these members of his family and for the business partners and whatever. And this went for about 2-3 months, right? Then one day, he he says that he has a very important meeting with very important guests, and he needs her to join him in this meeting for consulting. It's gonna be at a restaurant or whatever. So she was skeptical at first. Why does he want me there? Yeah? But whatever. She tells her husband, and her husband was like, "Why?" Oh, and by this point now, the guy had gifted her expensive perfumes and like a $12,000 bag, and she refused it, but he insisted, and she ended up accepting it. So, long story short, she accepts to go to this meeting at this public restaurant, or whatever. And when she arrived, he was already there. And when she arrived, there was no one there. It was just him waiting. So she asked him about, oh, where are the colleagues that are coming? Your colleagues. And he told her they're running a little bit late. So they start talking, and he starts telling her that he would like to make a toast with her, a toast. And she says, "I'm sorry, but this is prohibited in our religion, right? Because they're Muslim. This is prohibited. We can't do this." So she gets up because he's insisting. He's like, "Oh no, just one drink is not haram. It's a custom here in Dubai. It's just for celebration. One drink is okay." And she says that no. So then what ends up happening is she gets up to leave, and he grabs her by the wrist, right? He insisted firmly that, and long story short, she accepted it because he kind of pressured her into it. So after this, he expresses his feelings for her, his romantic feelings, and tries to kiss her. He ends up kissing her, and she gets up. She pushes him. She gets up and leaves. And she goes home. She's like feeling like guilty, and she's, trying to process what just happened. And she tells what had happened to her husband, except the kissing part. She tells the husband that this is what happened. We went to the meeting, and there was nobody there. The whole thing, and he expressed his feelings for me, and the husband was outraged. The brother was really upset. So he's trying to like go to see this guy, and she ends up calming him down, telling him, you know, don't do this. It's not worth it. Our legal status here is basically if we become jobless, they send us back. You have to have a job because of their legal status. We can't be here like doing nothing with no job or nothing like this. Or if we get in trouble, they can send us back. They revoke our visa. So the brother ends up calming down, but he tells her, break ties with this guy. It's not worth it. So a couple of days go by, and she goes back to work, and he's calling her and calling her. She doesn't answer the phone. She's just ignoring his calls. The other guy. So then what happens is one day she comes into work, and they call her into the office, and the manager ends up telling her that without explanation, she's going to go to a different position that is lower and less pay. They didn't give her a reason why. So they actually demoted her. So this guy ends up contacting her again. She answers. And it turns out that this guy that was making these advances, the customer, that was very influential, had money, his cousin worked for some company that held the leasing contract in that mall for that store, something like this. In other words, he had connections. His cousin was the owner or whatever of the leasing company. So the demotion of her was because his cousin, he contacted his cousin, and they had an influence in demoting her. So he basically told her, invited her to this place, this apartment, and he was putting pressure on her. And he started telling her, "You can see what I can do if you don't go along with this." So out of fear, she ends up meeting. He actually rented an apartment for her in a part of Dubai, and she ends up accepting a meeting with him at this apartment because he was pretty much saying, "I can get you fired at any point if you don't comply here." Right? So she becomes fearful of what can happen if she loses her job. She knows they're going to get deported back. So he meets up with her, and at first, for the first couple of weeks, it was like once a week. They would just meet at the apartment, just watch movies. He just told her that he just wanted to enjoy her company, blah, blah, blah. But after a couple of weeks of this, she didn't tell anything to her husband at this point, I think. After a couple of weeks, he started wanting to touch her, right? And so she tried to refuse. And long story short, if I recall correctly, this part, he started telling her, "Look," he just tells her like flat out, like, "I have influence. I can get you guys sent back at any point, right? Because I can get you fired immediately. I'm a phone call away from my cousin. All I have to do is pick up the phone and you're without a job." So he starts putting pressure on her in this way. So let's fast forward a little bit. Out of fear and out of being coerced into this, she starts, the guy starts making advances, and she starts giving in out of fear. So one thing leads to another. She becomes pregnant from this guy. So she goes back to work, and people start noticing her, like she's getting sick more often, and her breasts are swelling, and she's throwing up, and blah blah blah. So she goes. Her husband doesn't know anything yet. She goes to the doctor to get a pregnancy test. So she gets a pregnancy test, and it turns out she's pregnant. And she breaks down and starts crying. And the doctor was a female, so she starts asking her, "What's wrong? You're supposed to be, you know, happier." She tells her it's not my husband's. So she starts telling him, she starts telling the doctor her what has taken place. And the doctor tells her, "Look, this is a very delicate situation because in Dubai, um, adultery is punishable, you know. So, but it wasn't her fault, you know. She was coerced into this, right? She's trying to explain this. She's like, "Yeah, but you're also going to need evidence. So if you don't have evidence, it's your word against his, and an adultery is punishable." So she's in a very tough situation. So she ends up going back and tell her husband what happened. Now, when she tells her husband what happened, at first he's very silent. He doesn't say anything to her. And then after a few minutes pass by, 10, 15 minutes, he put on his coat and says, "I'll be back." Puts on his coat and leaves the house. Husband gets in the taxi cab and drives over to the building, tall, luxurious building where this guy works. Walks in past the entrance gate, goes up to the security counter, and he tells the security that he wants to speak to, I forget the name of the guy, to this guy, right? He's in his office. So the call goes, security picks up. Oh, the security looks at him, and he's dressed like, old clothes, sandals. You can tell he's a poor guy. So the security is looking at him like, "What do you want with this guy? This guy has money, big influence guy, wealthy guy. What do you want with him?" So he asked him, "Do you have an appointment?" He goes, "No, but tell him I am the husband of so and so. He'll know who I am." So security gets on the phone, talks. After a while, after a few minutes, hangs up and says, Mr. So-and-so can't see you. You have to leave the building. So he becomes outraged and he says, I'm not leaving until I speak with him. And the security calls for backup. More backup comes. And as they grab him, he starts screaming, uh, I forget the name. Let's say Ivan something, whatever. Come down here, you coward. He starts yelling this. Come down here, you coward. You slept with my wife and you've gotten her pregnant. Come down here, you coward. So he makes a scene. They end up taking him out of the building, right? And they told him that if he came back in, they were going to call police. So this guy is out there now, feeling helpless, right? Look at everything that has happened to him, and he feels helpless. Like, what am I going to do? Right? He's dead broke, and he's going against this guy, this multi-millionaire. So what ends up happening is he goes back to his house, and he tells his wife what happened. And so he tells her, look, I don't blame you. I know you were coerced into this. I understand what's going on. So he didn't put the blame on his wife or anything. So she's like glad that he's understanding. And she asked him, like, so what are we going to do now? So he's sitting there. He's not, like blanked out. He doesn't know. This is a tough situation. And then the shame that this will bring if both of their families found out back home in Pakistan, right? So a couple of days go by and he continues to drive his cab and he gets a phone call to his phone. And it's the guy. And he tells him, I want you to meet me at this location. Come alone. Don't come with anybody. So it's the guy's wife pregnant. And the coordinates led to like the woods. It was like a disordered area, woods, one of those forest places. So he tells his wife what's going on. She tells him, please don't go. Please don't go to this place. This is very dangerous. Do not go. He decides to go. So he shows up. And he looks around. He parks his car. He looks around. There's no one. Just trees and forest and no buildings, nothing. And he's there waiting. And about 10 minutes later, a black, like suburban SUV Escalade pulls up. And the guy comes out by himself. And he's looking at the guy, and the guy's looking at him. And the guy tells him, you showed up at my building and you made a scene. And the Pakistani guy, he clenches his fist and goes, you have coerced my wife and slept with my wife, and you have to pay for this. And now there's a big problem because she's pregnant. And then the guy replies, that's your problem, not my problem. So he becomes angry. The Pakistani guy becomes angry and attacks him and punches him in the face. So they fall down to the ground and they start, he starts beating him at first. The other guy grabs a rock. The other guy grabs a rock and hits the Pakistani taxi driver in the head, and he starts bleeding. So the fight ceases. And the wealthy guy tells him, you have attacked me. I can call the police right now and have you deported out of this country because you have attacked me. You made the first move. And then the Pakistani goes, do whatever you want. I don't care anymore. Because think about it. He's in a crazy situation, like helpless situation. And he tells the Pakistani guy, he tells him, you're pathetic. I don't want anything from you. You can take your wife and go. This is the only thing you're going to get from me is this moment of letting you go without getting you deported. Take your wife and go. I never want to see you both again. So they both get in their car and they go the opposite way, right? No police is called, nothing. He gets back home to his wife. His wife sees, he's like bleeding, and she freaks out what happened. So he explains to her what happened. So I'm going to shorten the story here a little bit. So what ends up happening at the end of the story is that after he was cool, calm, and collected, he realized this is a hopeless situation. He starts thinking about the shame this going to bring to the family, how adultery is punishable in that country, how she can't have an abortion because he this is something that he presented to her, and she reminded him that she can't take a life. That's haram. That's prohibited. So after weighing all these things, he comes to the conclusion. He looks at her and he says, "There's one way that we can fix this and end this situation." And before he could tell her anything, she knew what he was talking about: suicide. So he, she actually, after some reflection, she actually agreed. She didn't say anything with his mouth, but he agreed. She agreed with her head like this. So what they did was he wrote a letter to his family back in Pakistan. She wrote a letter to her family. And what ended up happening was they left the house. A couple of days after they left the house, they got in the car. They had already talked about where this was going to take place. It was going to be like in a forest. The way that was going to happen was a rope. They were going to hang themselves. So they took rope. He already had rope. Both of them got in the car and they drove to this location. And they had two boxes that they were going to stand on. So he put, the rope up, and he asked her one last time, "Are you sure?" And she said, "Yeah." So he told her, "I'm going to go first." She said, "No, we're both going to do this together. I want to do this together." So he accepted. So they both got on the box, put the rope, the whole thing. They held their hands like this, and then they said, "Okay, at the count of 3, right? 1, 2," and they both kicked the boxes. A couple of days later, a farmer that was walking through the area saw the bodies hanging, and what ended up happening was, obviously there was an investigation, but there wasn't much happening. So there was no evidence. The letters weren't really evidence. It was just somebody telling a story of whatever, but there was no actual evidence of this. So what ended up happening was they sent the bodies back to Pakistan to their families, along with the letters, and the families read the letters, and they kept reading it over and over and over again. And the guy in Dubai, the influential guy, he was never charged because, again, there's no evidence. So they didn't consider that evidence, those letters, evidence. So that's based on a story. Yeah, it is, exactly, Bob. It is. So I guess they rather choose. They rather went with she rather go with the choice of unaliving herself and the husband than unaliving the child. They were, I guess they were trying to pick like what. It's crazy. But if you look at that story, which to my understanding this is a true story, um, it reminds us of a certain things, right? Because at some point in the story, the husband tells her, when the guy starts giving her this expensive gifts, the perfume and the purse, the expensive purse and stuff like this, that the gifts start getting more expensive. The husband asked the wife, "Why is he giving you this?" Because nobody just gives this expensive to somebody for no reason. This was before the restaurant, before the hotel, stuff like this, right? And she was like, "Oh, maybe he's just a wealthy guy. To him, maybe that's nothing, you know. He's a very wealthy guy, so to him, it's like normal to give people expensive gifts." So you see how one thing led to another, right? And she blamed herself, and the husband didn't put blame on her or anything like this. But one thing led to another, right? Oh, I want you to be my consultant. They start spending time by themselves, even though it was just pure business at first. His intention from the beginning was, he knew, as guys, we know what his intention was from the beginning. And then the restaurant, he invites you to a restaurant and there's nobody there. It's just two of them spending time by themselves. This is why all this is prohibited in Islam, right? And then he introduces a little bit of alcohol, the toast, yeah, more haram, right? Then he introduces touching and kissing her, and then one thing leads to another. Even though she didn't want to, she got coerced into this. She got pressure into this because of their uh, circumstances of their status in the country, and this was going to ruin everything they had been working for, right? Because their plan was to do this for 5 years, go there, work, save their money, go back to Pakistan, buy a house, send money, give money to their family, embrace their family in Pakistan. So they had a plan, and with the idea of taking this job where this guy is going to be paying $5,000, we can achieve our goal, our financial goal, in 2 years rather than 5. Under that presumption that you know they thought this was going to be, well, she thought this was going to be just business, but the intention of the guy wasn't business. So that was a very interesting story that I heard yesterday. I was like, man. All right, let's get to work. We got clean car. Let's get to the monies. All right, we got our first customer here. Short trip. Fired up the engine. Fire up that engine.
Start recording video.
But this is why there's certain boundaries in Islam that prevents things like this from happening. Right? Like, there was a sheikh I was listening to a few days ago. He was having a conversation, like a sit down with another brother. And the sheikh was saying that there's a brother that came to him in the masjid after a khutbah. And the brother started telling him told the sheikh, I really need to speak with you. Like, something serious, right? So then they went private, and the brother told him, look, my wife has expressed that she has feelings for another guy. And the chick was, what do you mean? Tell me more about this. How did this come about? It turns out that the guy, oh, and the guy had developed feelings for her too. It turns out that the guy that he was he was talking about was a friend of his and his wife, that they had been hanging out, doing couple things. Going bowling, going to the movies together, man, in couples, couple fun. So it wasn't even like they were doing anything behind each other's back, right? Couple activities. And she had developed feelings for the other brother, and the other brother for her. So, what does Allah tells us in the Quran? Prevention is better than the cure. Preventing something, how true is that? How true is that? Even if you've never read the Quran, even if you're not religious, from a pure logical standpoint, how true is that verse? Prevention is better than the cure. In any circumstance, this is true. Preventing something is better than having to cure it, whatever it is. So, mashallah, that sister is, well, I'm not going to flip it, but that sister is covered up. I'm talking about covered up. Because it's cold. For us, this here is cold. Hee ha ha ha, let's do a couple things together. And then the sister and that brother ended up falling in love with each other, and they were both married, of course. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Please double tap the screen. Thank you for hitting the like button. We're about to pick up a customer here. Short little drop off. Short, quick little 5-minute drop off. There's another sister here waiting to go to school. Man, like, sometimes I think about, for example, a sister like that. She's in high school. She's at the bus stop. There's other kids around waiting to go to high school. She's the only one standing there with hijab. Everybody else around her is, just regular. Sometimes I think about those sisters and how much of a test that is, being a young person in the United States, going to school. Other kids around are, most of them, they have the Western type of lifestyle. Completely different. We're talking about high school, so there's kids that are gonna mock her. Why are you wearing that on your head? If we get idiots online saying that, kids, how kids are. Some kids are cruel because they don't understand out of their ignorance, right? So those kids, they have to go to school, and put up with the peer pressure of, like, engaging in haram stuff or dressing a certain way. Like, there's a group of little girls that are walking that way now, right? Little mini skirts. It's cold outside. There's 3 girls and 2 boys walking in a group that way. 2 other girls have mini skirts on, little mini denim skirts on to go to school. Then you have the sister at the bus stop out there outside this community, fully dressed in her hijab. And all that she sees around her, a lot of it is going to be mini skirts and little shorts and stuff like this. And she's in a position where she has to pretend, well, not her pretend, but her environment makes her pretend like, or looks at her like she's wrong for dressing a certain way, when she's actually the one in the right. All right, we got a customer here. I'll be back in a minute. All right, we dropped off that lady. And now we have somebody else to go pick up right away. Because that trip came in. That trip came in as soon as I picked up this lady and her daughter. But yeah, what I was saying is that those young sisters that are, and brothers too, that are, going to the high schools, to the middle schools, and you know, they're on the dean. It's very difficult for them, right? Very hard test because everything around them, the schools, and because there's a school here in Tampa, right? That is Muslim school, but it's private. Not all the families here. Most of the families here are not going to have money to send their kids to that school. Because I looked into that a while back, and it's expensive, right? So the other brothers and sisters, they have to send their kids to public school. So the test that those brothers and sisters are going through, the young ones that are in the middle school and the high school, and they're trying to practice and stay on their dean, and they're going to get mocked. They're going to get obviously made fun of, and some of them bullied and stuff like that, just because the sister might be wearing hijab, or you know but that should also be a good teaching moment, teaching period for the parent and the kids. It's a good moment to tell the daughter, for example, baby, don't worry about those girls that are making fun of you wearing hijab. Those girls, you don't want them around. They're self-disqualifying themselves from being friends with you. Those girls, they're gonna most likely they're gonna have a worse future than you. The ones that are mocking you for wearing hijab and not a miniskirt, and those girls have a different path. And if they don't correct course, they're gonna end up pregnant early. They're gonna end up used, abused, thrown away, used as dumpsters, right? Because they have fallen into, or they don't have the same guidance that you do from their family. So, but nonetheless, it's tough to be young like that, and going to school, and these kids can be some kids can be a-holes, to one another. Those are popular girls for a reason. How tolerant are Muslim nations? Very tolerant. So much so that I'd say in every Muslim nation, there's churches so that other religions can practice their faith, even in Saudi. Even Iran. Okay, we're talking about Iran. Iran has churches and synagogues. Look it up. So that should answer your question, how tolerant. Now, if you mean tolerant by accept everything, no. That's called having no boundaries. There's tolerance with boundaries. Having boundaries does not mean you're intolerant. Having boundaries means you have self-respect, dignity, and you are drawing lines on what can corrupt a society as a whole and people. That's boundaries. The problem here is that we have lost our boundaries. There are few boundaries left here in our Western society. This is why you have kids and adults in San Francisco going into the stores and stealing at the CVS and waving at the camera, because they know the repercussions are nothing. If you steal under $900, you're good to go. And don't steal over 900, because that could get you in a little bit of trouble. They do it openly now out of your CVS's in LA. Several videos I've seen now of a person filming. They're inside a grocery store and they're filming a person walk out with a buggy full of things without paying. That's her that's her third time here today. I've seen videos like this. Nothing, bro. No repercussions. Oh, bro, but in so and so place, they chop off your hand if you steal. That's too extreme. Okay, look up the stat. How many people steal over there? Oh, there's no theft. Practically, there's no theft. Oh, so it turns out the prevention is better than the cure. Because the law is so extreme, people tend to value their hand more than the item they're stealing. Oh, therefore, there goes your theft. Alhamdulillah. Because if you get your hand chopped off, which by the way, there's conditions to this. It's not that simple. But if you get your hand chopped off, it turns out not only you're missing your hand, but everybody knows for the rest of your life that you stole. You're a thief. So it's the shame along with the punishment. Well, what about if somebody stole food because they're starving? They're actually likely to feed you. If it's food because you're starving, they're likely to feed you. They're not going to chop off your head. But if you stole a Rolex or a bike, and somebody said to me once, somebody that lives here, yeah, bro, but that's too extreme because I would never, when I was young here in the United States, I stole something. I don't think I should have my hand chopped off. I said, you think it's extreme because you were a thief. So because you were a thief, if that rule had been implemented, because he actually got caught, I think, back then, and he went to jail. Obviously, you're speaking out of self-experience. Because if you were in that situation, your hand would have been chopped. That's why you're saying it's extreme. Well, that's very convenient. The thief, right, thought about it and he said, damn. And then he said, I was young. I told them I was young too. Guess what? I never did. Stole. That's why I don't fall for that. Oh, I was young and blah blah blah. Yeah, I was young too. I never stole. I never killed anybody. What else I didn't do? I never did a drug in my life. I never did alcohol. I was young too, bro. So I think the whole I was young is a cop-out. It's really BS. Because I remember at 9 years old, even 8 years old, I remember what was right and what was wrong. I was very aware of what was right and what was wrong. Extremely aware. Nobody had to tell me, even at 7 years old, nobody had to tell me stealing is wrong. Nobody had to tell me smoking is wrong. Nobody had to tell me drinking is wrong. Nobody had to tell me drugs are wrong. Nobody had to tell me none of this. Right? You are very aware and capable of knowing by the time you're 7, 8, 9 years old what's right and what's wrong. You are very, very well aware. Yeah, but the brain is not blah, blah, blah. You are aware of this. You are aware of what police is. You are aware of certain things, basic things that should allow you to stay out of trouble. You are very aware of this. I was 7, I was 8, I was 9, I was 10. I was very aware of all this. So don't give me the BS excuse that, oh, that happened because they were young and cop out. Cop out. 12-year-old kills 3 people. Oh, you shouldn't. Yes, you should. Because if a 12-year-old knows that grabbing a gun and shooting is going to get rid of those people, he knows what he's doing. He knows very well what he's doing. So why shouldn't the punishment fit the crime? Are you aware that pulling this trigger is going to cost to kill those people? Yes. So then, what are we talking about here? No, but he's 7. He was playing with water guns at 4 and 5. And the other ones, the one to shoot out the plastic bullets or whatever. He's been practicing, not with intention of killing at that point, but he knows what this does. He's aware of this, right? Even at 4 or 5, a kid already knows how to utilize this. Let's pick up this person and drop them off. It's a short trip. Knows how to utilize a plastic gun. freaking guy smells like cigarettes. Can't stand that smell. Smells like cigarettes. Bad. Disgusting. Gross. Dang, windows down. Ugh. What's up, eh? Salam alaikum. We out in the office. Ugh. I don't know how people can smoke that garbage, bro. Ugh. Terrible cigarette smell. I'm manager now. See my desk? I'm getting my phone put in on the desk over here this week to take calls. You stink, man. Cigarette smell. I don't know how people can smoke that garbage. Let me see what else we got. No, I'm not gonna do list trips. No, if your rating is low, I'm not picking you up. What's up with those low people with low ratings this morning? It's that they're not getting picked up because they have low ratings. That's why. It's catching up to them. Bad behavior is catching up. Your rating gets too low. Drivers don't want to pick you up. And then you need to go places you don't have a ride. You shouldn't be acting like a jackass over and over and over again. Now your rating is 4.6, 4.5. Nobody wants to pick you up. Sorry. Not sorry. That's how it works. I don't pick up anybody with a rating less than a 4.8. 4.8, bare minimum. And I'm skeptical about 4.8. Why? All you got to do is say hi, come in, and thank you when you leave. You should. I have an account. I have 5 stars, and I've taken trips before. That's all you do. Now, in my case, when I take a ride, I do talk to the drivers because I'm a driver too. So I know the subject that interests us, which is Uber and how low they're paying, how bad they're paying. Every driver loves this topic. So we don't mind. Whenever I've picked up another Uber driver and they start talking to me about how Uber pays low, oh yeah, we talk about it because we know it's something you can relate to right away with other person. And drivers like to vent about that. So I have 5 stars, and every driver that's ever picked me up, I talk to them about how's the business. You know, in Uber too, how's the business? Oh man, it's their chance to vent. You know how passengers are always venting to the driver? Now is their chance to vent to the passenger. Man, these prices are insane. I'm like, yeah, I know. You know how that is. And then at the end, I give them a tip. At the end, I always tell them, I know how trips are and how the business is right now, so I'll tip you. And I tip them, so they see the tip come in right away. And so I got 5 stars. I got 5 stars on both. I got 5 stars on my driving account, and I got 5 stars on my passenger account. Smoking should be legal. I agree, man. It's disgusting. Remember the non-smoking section in the restaurants? That didn't work. Yeah. They should bring that back ASAP. Hookah Cafe. Fight us. Hookah Cafe. Nah, I'm not going there right now. People should stop using Uber and pay drivers directly. No, that opens the door for a lot of. I mean, they can if they're. You can have your own LLC private company, and then you can do that. But if you say like use Uber to draw in the customer, and then that's illegal. If you do that, you get caught. Big problem. You know they did an operation in Miami a while back where there was this thing where when you go to the airport, the drivers they all have a lot to wait. You wait your turn. You're in a queue, and then they'll say there's 50 to 55 drivers in front of you. There's 45 to 50 drivers in front of you, and as you wait, your turn comes. They send you a trip. It tells you what terminal, what door. You show up, you pick them off, and off you go. Right. Well, there's this thing that they were doing where the drivers were getting impatient. They didn't want to wait, so they'll just drive up to the terminal, right? And they'll see a person with bags and be like, "Oh, you need Uber?" And they have the sign Uber and everything. Yeah, oh, okay, come in. And then they'll charge the customer and take. Well, they caught on to that. So then what started happening was police was starting to post up undercover with their luggage bag at the terminal. And drivers will show up. Hey, you need a ride? Yeah. Where you going? Oh, you're going there. Like, trying to skip the line. And as soon as they got in the car, halas. Halas. That's it. You're caught. Get out the car. Batch comes out. Get out the car. Handcuffs. Arrest. Now you lose your Uber account and your bond, whatever it is, $500, $600 to get out. Is it worth it? Is it worth you doing that for an Uber ride? So they don't do that anymore. I mean, there might be a crazy one or two crazies that are still doing it. But drivers were doing this a lot over there in Miami, and that's how they stopped that. And they were putting these guys on the news. This operation is going on at Miami Airport is very, very dangerous because drivers, and technically it is dangerous because you don't know if that's even an Uber driver. Anybody could do that. Somebody with no account could put an Uber sign up and say, go show up at the terminal. Hey, Uber, yeah. You don't know if they have bad intentions. At least through the Uber platform and the Lyft platform, they have the driver's information. And they have the pass. Well, at least they'll have a credit card link to the account. It's not. Passenger can put any name. Driver can't just put any name. Passenger can put SpongeBob as their name, which is kind of bizarre. You'll see people with weird names. Like, why isn't the passenger required, like the driver, to put their real name in there? They don't verify this because they just want the money. Uber does. But with a driver, there has to be a background check. Real name, first name, all this. Picture, license, everything. But if you're a rider, you can sign up. Anybody can sign up. You can put SpongeBob SquarePants as your name, and no problem. Anybody can make an Uber account. You have to have a clean criminal record because they do run background check. So if you have anything on your background, you're not going to be able to get on the app. So just not anybody. I've picked up people before that have told me I tried to sign up for Uber, but since I was arrested once when I was a teenager, they didn't accept me. So if you pass the background check, yeah, pretty much anybody can have an Uber account. If you have the right car too, like your car has to be a certain, can be too old. Like, I think it's like 2007 and up or something like this. I don't know if throughout the years they have increased that by a year or 2 years, So I don't know what the limitation is on how old the car can be. My last Uber driver was very kind. I had crutches, and he helped me get out of his car and to put in front door. Yeah, I help the elderly. When I see an elderly person, sometimes I go to this. Sometimes I go to this. Organizations or companies will book the trip for the person, so it'll tell you right away, or the organization so and so booked this trip. A lot of the times when you go to this like healthcare centers, it's like elderly people with their walker. So when I see elderly people with their walker, I get out. I open the door for them. I grab the walker. After they sit down, I put it in the trunk. When we get there, I take it out of the trunk. I angle it so they can grab it, and get up, and the whole thing. Old people love me. Old people always ask me, "How can I get you again?" And I'm like, "You have to go through the app." Yeah, I've helped blind people too. Yeah, I'm sure it depends on the country too. When it comes to those things. What's up, RR? What's today looking like? Everything Gucci? Yeah, waiting here for our next trip. What time is it here? 9:16. Mine's gonna say SpongeBob SquarePants Bot Pants. Sponge Square Bot Pants. Yeah, let's do this one. Let's see if it'll match me. No, somebody took it. My best Uber driver in Chicago, that was a retired policeman. And before my flight, let's see, what's this? Sure, let's take this one. Let's see if it'll match me. Before my flight, he took me to all the places that shady stuff happened. I have his number, so every trip to Chicago, I call him. So he took me to all the places that shady stuff happened. What do you mean? I didn't get that part. I don't understand that part. Temperature here is like 40 something. What's up? Cool username. Slim Shady. Some of these trips are ridiculous. The offers, $7 for 10 miles. Who the heck is doing that? Who's gonna do that? There's somebody literally here. It might be that guy ordering an Uber. Ordering an Uber, 17 miles, $16.49, 32 minutes. We're not doing that, big now. We're not doing that. Yeah, I think it's that guy ordering the trip. Literally, like, he's in front of me, but I'm not taking that trip. There's $7 for 10 miles again. Nobody's taking it. Nope, they're sending it to me in another way. I'm not taking that. Nobody wants to take that because it's no good. No, I didn't go to college to waste my time on that. Let me see. Middle Eastern cuisine. Like, I'm going to show you some of the offers that are coming in. Now, I do want to do short trips. I don't want to do long trips. Short trips are actually better. Let me remove the background here for a second, so you can see the offers that are coming in. Chicago's known to have a lot of crazy stuff that happens. Look at this. Look at how bad this is. $18 is what they pay, right? For a 34.1 mile trip, 41 minutes. This is gonna be over an hour. By the way, the estimate time is a lie. Uber always puts less time than what it actually is to make the driver and the passenger think that they're going to get there faster. So that trip was over an hour. 30 degrees in Minnesota. Look at this. No, I would rather do this one though than the last one you just saw. I would rather do that trip. It is more profitable in the long run to do that trip if you stay out longer because you're going to end up saving miles and gas at the end of the day. I've already tested this. This is a no, 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 no. I'm looking for a trip that's 12 minutes and less. This is a no. It has to be 12 minutes and less for me to accept it. If it's not 12 minutes or less, I'm not going to accept it. But I would rather do a $5 trip, 10 minutes, than an $18 trip for over an hour. Think about it. No. See, if this one was 5, I would probably take it. I would probably take that if it was 5. But the time and the miles have to be a little less. If it was like 2 miles, I would have probably taken that one. Yeah, $3, no. The minimum is $4.50 I take now. And it has to be, when I say $4.50, we're talking about tops 2 miles, tops. Because again, you have to play the long-term game. It can't be short. Think like, because some drivers say, after like 3 hours, I'm going to go home. Like, no, no, no. I'm going to be here till like 10 o'clock. So long-term, it is much better, believe it or not, to take shorter trips. Because by the end of the night, if I start with a full tank, I'm not going to have to put $40 of gas. I'm still going to have 3/4 of a tank. Literally. And I'm going to end up, let's say I end up with like $130. And I have to put no gas. So now I'm putting gas every like 2.5 days. But if I start taking the long trips, oh man, I'm telling you, by 5 p.m., I have to fill up again. So what I'm gonna say, I've made $150 by 5 p.m., right? Nice. But now my gas tank is empty. Okay, so now I gotta put $40 of gas. So what am I really doing? Nothing. You're just putting, because you're taking trips that are like 50 cents a mile. Oh, I forgot I have to go online. You're in Florida. Ever been Longboat Key? I've been to the Keys. I used to live in Miami. See, that rating, I don't like those ratings. I'm not going to take this. I'll take a 4.8. That was 4.81, but not for that much. Not for that much. Not for that much. Yeah, this is self-employment. This is independent contractor. All Uber work is independent contractor. Why did this? I hate when that happens, bro. Hold on, let me clean the camera here a little bit. Don't you hate when you're parked in a parking lot where there's like literally no cars around and somebody comes and parks right next to you? Like, bro, there's 35 empty spots. Why are you parking next to my car? Now you're going to open the door, and if you're an idiot, you're probably going to end up hitting my door with your door, which is why I park away from everybody. Because I've literally been in the car before several times and somebody opens the door, pop. Even with you in the car. They're that careless. So I park to avoid problems. I park away from everybody. And there's always a one person that comes and parks right next to me when there's no other parking spots are taken. Sometimes I just turn on the car and I move away and I park somewhere else right away. But since I'm parked in the shade, all right, let's go ahead and go to same as me in England. You can claim a lot back in expenses, so you don't have to pay much tax. It's similar in the use. Yeah, but you still end up paying pretty good amount of tax. Yeah, you have your deductions and stuff like this, but let's go ahead and open up Lyft also. Lyft is slower. Um, Lyft is slower in this market anyway. But let's go ahead and turn it on. Lyft is like a see. I much rather do this. You see, I much rather do this. Actually, I'm gonna do this because again, I'm playing the long term game. I'm not playing the short term game. Right? I'm not trying to go home by 2 p.m. So you saw that. I think it's less than a mile to get there and drop them off for $3.95, almost $4. Now some people might say, "Bro, I never do a a $4 trip." Again, they're not taking a lot of things into consideration, right? And those are the drivers that want to go home in 4 hours, right? Those are the same drivers that you're gonna see complaining business is so bad because they're trying to wait for what is called the unicorn. The unicorn is one of those trips that comes in that is like uh, $40, 15 miles, or $35, 15 miles. They're waiting for that unicorn, quote unquote. Oh, hey, come on, man. Let's go. I hate when people are eating crap in traffic, bro. Stop sign, completely unaware that there's a car behind you at the stop sign. There's no cars coming. You're just taking up the time just because you're like this. Those are the same people that will get eaten in the jungle by the mountain lion, because they're completely unaware of their surroundings. So yeah, since I'm playing the long-term game here, you know, throughout the day, I'm not gonna. If a trip comes in that's $4, like this one, for less than a mile, I'm gonna do that. Why wouldn't you do that? Also, it depends what car you have, right? If this car, right now, I can only do X with this car. Now, if I had, like I had before, my Highlander, where I could do XL and I could do Comfort, I would be a little bit more patient. But you have to play the game correctly with the cards that you have. But you'll have guys that are doing only can do X because of the car they have, talking about, I'm gonna sit here and wait until I get a $20 for 4 miles. What are you talking about, bro? You're gonna be there all day long. You have no clue what city you're in. You don't understand your market. You have to understand what market you're in. You have to understand the amount of drivers that are out. You know, you're not gonna get that you're talking about. You're gonna sit there until 2 p.m. and make no money. No, this is a trip. $4, less than a mile as a whole. I'm gonna do it. I see the lady right over there. Let's pick her up. This is less than a mile. I'll be back in a second. All right, and that's finished. Just like that, that's complete. I'll let this person go first because I'm not in a hurry. Yeah, we can do this one. Let's see if it matches. See, that's done that quickly. How long did that take? 5 minutes? That took maybe 5 minutes in general as a whole from the minute I started driving to her. Okay, yeah, let's accept this one. That lady I just dropped off, she was at a laundromat. Now sometimes those little trips can become a pain. I'll tell you how. One time I went to pick up a trip similar to this one. And it was a lady with a whole bunch of bags. A whole bunch of bags, and she needed help, and it was a whole thing. That's when those trips become a little bit like, all right, the other pickup, it's literally right here now. Next door, in the building next door. So we're gonna pick up this lady now.